Hello and welcome to Oxygen Not Included. This is a very early access game. It is on Steam, but you have to jump through some hoops to get on it, because you can't actually buy it through the Steam app on your computer. You have to sort of go through a specific app on the forum site for Oxygen Not Included. You do get the main game when you purchase it like this, but they didn't want a full alpha release or anything, so this is sort of a pre-alpha stage at the moment. It is getting worked on constantly, which is awesome to see, and so far it is a very addictive game. The first time I played this, I spent about 13 hours on it, then looked down and went, oh dear, that's a long amount of time. So, we are going to start a new game, and I am going to take you through and show you what this game is like. Come on. Okay, so these are our little duplicants. Tragedy may befall them. It's one of those unfortunate things. You just have to think of them as duplicants. They're not people. So it's fine. So, I am going to pause the recording and play around with these guys until I find a couple, because you can shuffle through, you see, to get different traits and different abilities and things. So I'm going to cycle through for a bit and find some good starters, because there is no point starting this game with just random people, because it may, you know, kill you very quickly doing that. So I will be back in a minute. Okay, and welcome back, guys. So I have my 3 duplicants here. I've got Archibald, Hassan, and Gus. The reason I've chosen these, I've got Archibald because he's a very good all-rounder. He can do everything. He is yokel, which means he can't perform the research. But to be honest, you're not going to be doing a great deal of research. You're going to do it for obviously a little while, but then once you've unlocked all the research, that's it. No point doing it, and you're not going to have a lot of people doing it at once, really, or not normally. So I don't mind having one of my duplicants unable to do research. Now, his stress response is vomiting, and he expects a decor of 15. Now, this won't make much sense until we actually start playing, but just know, if his stress gets too high, he will start vomiting. Hassan has the destructive stress response. He's narcoleptic, so he can just fall asleep at any time. He also has the diver's lungs, which means he consumes less oxygen, which is a very good trait for the simple reason that, you know, oxygen is one of the main things that we need. So, you know, he is very good at learning, so he's very good at research. He also is a decent constructor. We've then got Gus, who is also narcoleptic and has twinkle toes. Now, the only thing that this does is it gives him a +7 in athletics. But he's very creative, and he's not that bad at digging. So, let's have a name. I'm just going to go with a random name. Moonbase. Yeah, let's go with Moonbase. So, let's see what the map gives us. Now, the map is randomly generated every time, so, you know. Your crew has awoken miles beneath the surface of an unfamiliar terrestrial body. Oddly, they have no recollection of how they got here. It might be best to start digging. Okay, so I'm going to pause very quickly and speed up time, if that makes sense. So as soon as I unpause, time will be sped up. Now, this just here is called oxalite. It produces oxygen when it's got an exposed tile. It will eventually break down and disappear, but for the time being, that's going to be one of our main sources of oxygen. Just the oxalite that's around. There's some more here, see? And a little over there. We've got a decent-ish supply of water. That's all going to trickle down there. Okay. I've had worse starts. So, I can't actually build anything for the moment because I have no materials. So, as the game suggested, I am just going to start digging. So, send them all that way. Now, one of the things with this game is the resources aren't really used in the same way that you'd imagine. So if I wanted to build something, it doesn't use, you know, X amount of copper, X amount of dirt, so on and so forth. They all just get added into sort of a stockpile, and if it needs metal, it will use whatever metal you have available for certain things. When building tiles, when you have other materials, you can choose to use a certain type, and each type will have a different modifier. So, for example, sandstone adds a 0.1 to the decor, which isn't a lot, but it is pretty good. So we are just going to extend that along there a bit, and that one that way. And now we have some materials. I want a ladder going down to there, so that this oxalite will continue to add oxygen. And I wouldn't mind a ladder going all the way up here. And we can dig out that just there. In fact, cancel that ladder going up that high. There we are. Now, all of this at the moment is the same priority, so they'll just do whatever job is nearest, but you can set the priority. So if I wanted, say, this ladder to be done first, and this to be dug out as a maximum priority, or as a higher priority than the rest, whenever there is a piece that can be worked on, they'll go and work on it. Now, I'm digging up here for the main reason of getting a toilet. Now, I don't want the toilet being too close to the rest of my area, so we'll build 2 toilets just up there. And again, I'm going to set these to quite a high priority, because my duplicants are going to need the toilet very soon. They've sort of got... Oh, there you go. One person already needs the toilet. And they can have accidents. Oh, dear. You need to dig that out as, like, a maximum priority. And that one. Your duplicants will just get trapped and will just stand there and suffocate to death if you're not careful. So you do have to pay attention. They are kind of stupid. Oh. Okay. Now, as we sort of extend further, we'll see more and more of the map. I don't know if the map is infinite or not, or whether it has a limit, but I've not found one as of yet. Now, we've got several different overlays up here. You've got the oxygen overlay. So, as you can see, the lighter the blue, the more breathable the area is, the more oxygen in that area. And the darker the red, the more unbreathable. Now, obviously, your duplicants can hold their breath for a while, so they can stand here and work in this area and so on and so forth, but eventually they'll run out of air and have to run over here and they'll breathe quite heavily. Now, there are many ways to produce oxygen. At the moment, the only one we've got is the algae deoxidizer, which isn't the best of ways. But because we've got this oxalite, I don't really have to produce oxygen at the moment. You know, this chamber will just fill up slowly with the oxygen we're producing here. Oh, poor Hassan with his narcoleptic tendencies. Now, furniture. Just trying to think where I want to put their first set of beds. 3 high. No, I want their bedrooms to be 4 high. But they don't need to be that long. Now I'm just going to do individual bedrooms at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You don't have to do individual bedrooms, but I prefer it, to be honest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1 too high. And although you get new duplicants from this, the printing press, so in 1.7 cycles, which is the amount of days you have, we'll get a new colonist, or we'll have the option to print a new colonist. You can reject them all, but we're not going to be expanding ridiculously quickly, so it's not too hard to have an individual bedroom for several people. Oh. There we go. And cancel those. There we go. And we have to dig that up to be able to put that wall in. And of course I'm going to need to dig out all of this. And put one of them there in there so they'll actually be able to walk across it. Now I am giving my duplicants a lot of work to do at once, but it's not too bad because none of it should take that long. Oh, and dig out that area as well, please. The other thing I'm going to build is some storage compartments. Although the best place to put these, I don't really want to use all of this area up. Tell you what. Cancel that. So once they've dug this bit out, that will be my storage area, or at least the first storage area. Eventually I'll end up with a bigger or better one. Now everything I'm building at the moment doesn't have to be permanent. I can just pull it apart later and build something different. It just depends on how far we go. And you are good to be harvested. So that'll add a little bit of extra food. So with this game, you have to keep your colonists fed. You have to keep them, you know, in areas that they can breathe, so with oxygen. You also have to eventually have water and things like that. And water is one of the resources that will disappear just as quick as oxygen. Which can be frustrating. But, you know, it provides a challenge, which is what this game's about. Oh. Ah. Please dig that away. As you'll notice, sand has gravity, so sand will always fall if it's not got something under it. Which can be very annoying when it drops on one of your machines, you know, like this one. Now your duplicants can jump up 2 squares of items. Oh. So they can climb a little, but just depends. Okay, well that's producing a decent-ish amount of oxygen entering this room. Oh, and he's already got a bed. Where's my other colonist? Oh, both of them are basically sleeping on top of each other. Oh, there you go then. And you're almost ready to produce a new duplicant, which will be a good thing. Oh, there we go, we've got all 3 beds built. Now there's nothing stopping you heading downwards instead of up, with rooms and things like that, which I am going to do as well. Going to take that apart and put a ladder this way down. And that'll be for the new duplicant if I take one. Now oxygen will always try and head up, and carbon dioxide will always try and move downwards. So the lowest part of your base will normally fill with carbon dioxide if the carbon dioxide can reach it. So like here, the carbon dioxide can't get through this barrier, so it's all just pooling in this area. There are blocks and things like that that you get eventually that carbon dioxide can move through. But you know, until you actually get to them, you're stuck with just sort of hoping the oxygen gets where you need it to go. Oh, oh, that never gets old, just seeing them drop to the floor. Okay, well, with that being built... Oh, no, not in the air. There. And I want it for everything except contaminated dirt. There we go. Now, contaminated dirt you get from your outhouses, and it produces the slightly toxic or very toxic air, just like this here. Oh no, that's all chlorine. Ah, there it is, contaminated oxygen. So it will produce that. It is breathable, and your duplicants can breathe it, but they may get sick because they're breathing it. So, you know, it's best to try and avoid creating it if you can. And though I can't avoid creating it with the toilets, I can prevent it being put into this area and spread across the rest of my base. Okay, I think that's all of them now. And ready for a new duplicant. So, unlike at the very start, we can't cycle these indefinitely. It's just we have these 3 to pick from. Loud sleeper, diver's lungs are naturally robust, although flatulence isn't the greatest thing and your skills aren't that good. To be honest, none of these guys are that good, so yeah, reject. And when you reject, it just, you know, the next cycle's in 3 cycles, so you'll get another opportunity later. So don't feel bad about rejecting them. Because if they're not going to help your colony much, there is no point having them. Right, now I want to dig away all that there. Now, as you probably noticed, the colonists have just been running around picking stuff up and putting it in the chests. They are sometimes smart. They will do that when there's nothing else to do. So you don't have to set it as a priority. Though you can. So if I really wanted, say, the bedroom to be done, I could set that as a priority, and that will be the first thing they go and do. Nope, off to sleep. Now, the reason that clearing the bedrooms is a good idea is because all of this stuff is very bad for beauty. So if we look at the decor... This one that's not got many pieces of sort of items left in the room, you can see isn't as bad as these ones that have lots of them. And the worse the decor is, you know, the more it raises their stress. So, you know, keeping stress down is a good idea, especially when you've got people that either destroy or vomit. You know, because destroying stuff, never a good thing. They'll just start breaking all your stuff. And vomiting, very bad if it gets into your water supply. It's very hard to clean up. So once they've managed to empty some of this room, I'm going to start with some basic power generation. And just literally connect it like that. Although, cancel that one. So a duplicant will run on the treadmill and generate power. And we need that for research. There we go. So once they've built this research station, I'll actually be able to show you the research tree. There we go. So this is the research tree. As you can see, there's not a great deal of stuff on here yet, but I'm sure they'll expand it sooner or later. Now the first thing that we are going to research is farming tech, because I want these planter boxes. There's two ways of making food in this game, by growing it or by using a particular crafting item here, the microbe musher. The problem with this is it uses a lot of water and dirt, and it's no guarantee that your duplicants won't get sick because they are basically just eating wet dirt. Good for emergencies or when you don't have any other food source, but not the greatest thing in the world. So I am going to avoid that completely and farm my own food. You know, grow it and so on and so forth. To do that, of course, I need to actually unlock it. So, now once you've selected a research, don't forget, you have to click on the research itself. And because research won't be done unless there's a research project, you can just hit the continuous. You can just sort of say, oh yeah, fabricate 4 research items. So you could do it manually if you like, but the easiest thing is to just set it on continuous. But so now it's set. Gus is going down and doing the research. Now he has to basically make 20 of the green items to unlock that particular layer of research. So he'll get on that, and hopefully it won't be too long before we can start planting. Now I'm also going to need to actually have an area to do the planting. Not sure where I'm going to put that yet. It might be over here, to be honest. Seems like a good-ish spot. Yeah, it should be a decent area to plant in. And dig out this algae here. Now, algae is something that you're going to run out of, you know, quite a lot. It is a very useful item. It's something that you can use to create oxygen. So both in the algae deoxidizer and the algae terrarium, you obviously need to add algae for them to work. So as I say, it's something that you're going to run out of, and there's a limited supply on the map. Later in the game, once you've unlocked the research, you can turn slime into algae, but you know, that's a complicated procedure with all the things that you have to build for it. So yeah, dig that away as well, please. Now, while Gus is working on the research, some of the other duplicants will go around, collect the items he needs for the research, and give it to him. So he won't have to keep running around all the time. Which is quite a handy thing that happens. But I am going to leave it off there, guys, while they're sleeping. I hope you guys are enjoying this game. As I say, I'm very much enjoying it myself. It's one of them games that you start playing and just go, yeah, this is a really good game. So let me know in the comments if you're enjoying it. Let me know if you want me to continue. And I will do. But yeah, so let me know. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and see you later.